Colorado Hotel and Casino. This is Alton Barker, who will begin for Contour Power Grips. The story behind Alton Barker is that he showed up yesterday, and Contour Power Grips had just 4 members of their team when play began yesterday. So Alton substituted and bowled a 130 and then a 230. And so they have allowed him to bowl the first frame. A nice way for him to get on television and be a portion of this team. And here's the Contour Power Grip starting lineup, brought to you by the pioneers of the finger grip industry. You see it'll be Barker in this first frame, and then it will be Craig Kutzer from then on. Then Karch, Acosta, Porter, and then the anchor, Ernie Schlegel. Oh boy, an open frame for Contour Power Grips. Remember, this is a 2-game match, total pins for the 2 games. Pam Buckner is now up. Baker format, which means that Pam being 16, she'll bowl the first and 6th frames. If you're 27, you bowl the 2nd and 7th, etc. Well, it's going to be an open frame and another open frame.
Well, the nice thing that Ernie Schlegel decided to do to let Barker get in there and bowl didn't backfire him anyway, because Pam Buckner gave it right back to him. Pam had problems in practice before he went on the air. She couldn't seem to find a ball that she was comfortable with or get lined up on the lanes. Here, the 4, 6, 10, she'll just take the 2 on the right, hopefully.
And so we're dead even. Not the way either team wanted to start, but now maybe the match can begin. And for Contour, Mike Karch now up.
Mike's been around a while. He's a pretty experienced player for his age, and he likes to throw the ball real hard. He'll be playing out around that 2nd arrow and going up at him with a lot of ball speed. Hold that one.
And got lucky.
Very lucky. This was, we're going to take another look at that, and this is one of our higher scoring lane conditions we've had in a while. And look at this. He just gets enough of the head pin, much as a left-hander would, to call it a wall shot, but that's a crossover for the right-hander, Mike Karch.
So Karch with a strike in the 2nd, and now Gene Waite. He has bowled 5 300 games in his lifetime. He's just 30 years old.
Leaves the 2 and the 8. One of the more difficult spares that you could say is not a split, because you really want to hit both pins with the ball. The best way to play this is off your strike line. Just move your feet a couple boards to the right where you'd be standing to hit the pocket, and roll it right over your strike target, and you should cover the spare.
That's what he did. Perfect. Nice shot.
You see some pretty heavy-duty hand slapping about from this team from the El Dorado Hotel and Casino. Boy, I'll tell you what, they get to slapping those hands. It hurts just to watch them.
It really does. I hope they're slapping their non-bowling hands.
Yeah.
Now Mal Acosta.
Another guy that's been around a long time, 4-time PBA champion. Mal Acosta makes great shots under pressure. This is the hardest shot of the match. The first one to start the game. Got the crossover. They got it going.
Yeah,
they got a lot of lefties out there, doesn't it?
They've got the line for the crossover right now. Back-to-back crossover strikes for Contour Power Grips. And now Ty Dawson.
Well, the first 5 frames are the toughest. That's when each player gets to get up there and try to help their team the first time with the television lights on, and of course the live audience. We've got a packed house back here watching, and that's nerve-wracking. After that, they'll loosen up a little bit and start making better shots, we hope. Oh, and the solid 9, a little bit high in the head pin there. They're playing that extreme inside angle. He's one of the few players you'll see in that deep today. He did get that everything out but the 9. Here's the Contour Power Grips team lineup for the El Dorado Hotel and Casino. You see Buckner, Waite, Dawson, Thompson, and McFarland.
And the spare for Dawson. Right now it's an 11-pin lead for Contour Power Grips, working on a double. Here's Bob Porter.
See the deep breath there by Bob Porter, and Bob, another player, will be playing outside on the lane. By that I mean out around that 2nd arrow or just outside of it. Try not to hook it very much. Go fairly straight, and he got it on the left side.
Well, that seems to be the angle. And now a very difficult 5-6 spare.
Yeah, he didn't get away with it as the others did, and Bob is a good spare shooter. I fully expect him to come close, if not make this spare. Well, the ideal way to make it is to fit the ball between the two pins, and the ball should hit both pins. Takes some precise accuracy, but Bob is a very, very accurate player.
What a shot.
Just like that. Huh?
We have seen some good spare shooting already in this match.
Now, there's a lot of hearts pounding a little faster than normal right now out there. So once they get relaxed, it'll get a little better.
Todd Thompson now up for El Dorado. Thompson, a 30-year-old assistant manager for Reno Hilton Lanes. That's his first solid ball we have seen from either team.
Yeah, Todd likes to spin the ball. He really gets a low ball track. It's almost like the ball spinning on about a third of the surface, and that's how he can get the ball well down the lane and hook it so much on the back end. Another player that'll be doing something similar to that later on in the championship match will be Matt Surina. He likes to spin it also. And then the reason I'm bringing that up, because here's Ernie Schlegel, who is completely the opposite. Ernie using an old rubber bowling ball here, almost as old as he is, I think, if that's possible, going right up off the edge of the lane, right at him.
Just like that.
Ernie's pumped. Boy, he wants his bat. Now, you might have been listening in the open when I mentioned the fact that Ernie needed a 9 count or better on his last ball of the match play for his team to make the telecast. He threw the ball down there, got the strike, and they went crazy. Ernie was dancing, they were dancing, and they made it by, I think, like somewhere in the vicinity of 14 pins in the telecast.
Right. 14 is exactly right. By the way, in the head-to-head competition between these two teams, Contour Power Grips won in the earlier match play, defeating El Dorado 407 to 367. Kenny McPartland now bowling anchor. Pam Buckner had been bowling anchor for most of today during the Baker format for El Dorado, but they made the switch after they completed their warm-up.
Pam did extremely well in the qualifying, leading her team, averaging somewhere in the neighborhood of 213. So she bowled very well in the qualifying.
So we've got a good match. Game 1, halfway through game 1, and Contour Power Grips with a 9-pin lead. Change for Contour Power Grips. Craig Kutzer taking the place of Alton Barker here in the 6th frame. The 10 pin, the 6 kind of just went into the channel and missed the 10 completely.
Well, Barker made a great shot, left the 7 pin, and then missed it. Maybe Kutzer can make the great shot, leave the 10 pin, and pick it up. We'll find that out very quickly here. He had trouble with his spare shooting as I was watching the match play most of the afternoon. He wasn't comfortable shooting his spares. He made a lot of good shots for strikes, but had trouble with his spares. This time he covers it very well.
So the spare following the strike, and the lead stays at 9. Now, Pam Buckner, who had the split in the first frame.
Pam Buckner will show you nothing but positive thinking and a lot of enthusiasm on the approach and on the lanes. If she gets something going, she might jump up and touch the ceiling a couple times. She can really get excited.
Watch this. Yes.
Watch these hand slaps. These could hurt, boy. Let me tell you what. Boom. Here's another look at that shot by Pam Buckner, and she's playing extreme outside angle, bringing the ball in from the edge of the lane. Look at her reaction. Tell you what, do you think she's not into this, folks? Woof.
She was telling us before the match she just loves this Baker team format. You're not bowling for yourself, you're bowling for the team. And said a lot more pressure, actually. Likes the pressure, though. And how's that for a solid ball from Mike Karch? Well, he crossed over for the strike in his second frame, but that one was solid.
Anytime you are physically capable of throwing the ball very hard, you can overpower the lane condition. And what Mike's thinking is, and I talked to Mike Karch earlier today, he said the lane condition is just tough enough that what you want to do is throw it hard enough to get part of the head pin. Anytime you hit the head pin, you have a chance to strike. And if the condition is tough, that's all you're trying to do. Look at this. Oh, almost. Ooh, that pin's just a little shorter than the rest, maybe, huh?
I don't know. It's your center.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're bowling with New Brunswick pins down there, of course. This is the Brunswick World Team Challenge, and the format is 76 teams were entered. It was a full field. They bowled 6 qualifying games. Total pins were carried over into the match play with the top 10 teams Their total pinfall determined them to get into the match play. And then they bowled 9 2-game Baker matches with 15 bonus pins for winning a game, 20 if you win the total pins.
And high games, El Dorado you're seeing now with an 1186 in the qualifying yesterday. Ace Paving right behind, and then Vice Grips. They had an 1103. Tim Hargraves with a 279. Del Ballard Jr. bowled here this week. His team did not qualify for Baker today.
Had a lot of really fine players play in the tournament, and not room for everybody. Mike McGrath is here. Barry Asher, people of that stature, some very talented players.
Now Acosta doubles up. That increases the lead to 19. See a high series. Dave Bowles out of Tempe with a 706. Hargraves, who earlier you saw with that high game, he also had a near high series with a 704, and Del Ballard again. There's the strike that is much needed by El Dorado from Ty Dawson, and he's used to rolling strikes. He has rolled 25 300 games in his life.
Well, now the question is, are we going to make an adjustment here with Bob Porter, or is he going to try to get that ball off the left side of the head pin?
You see Chester with a qualifying average of 223, and Del Ballard Jr. right behind.
Crossed it over again, this time the 5-9. And last time, remember, he left the 5-6. The little split fit the ball in there perfectly and picked it up. This actually could be a little tougher, because now he's going to try to play somewhere in the vicinity of his strike angle. And if the ball hooks a little bit, he'll take the 5 off the 9. Ideally, you'll hit both pins with the ball.
Boy, he's a good spare shooter.
He is a spare shooter.
Good spare shooter, Bob Porter.
Those are the kind that get the rest of the team's heart pumping a little bit, though. I'll tell you, they watch you shoot those very often. They don't want to see that.
Todd Thompson. Todd had a strike in the 4th frame.
Yeah, and here's a guy, he really likes to spin it. You remember me mentioning that before. He's playing deep inside line, likes to hook it a lot. Watch his wrist rotate around the ball. Around the side of the ball. Look at the spin on that ball. Ooh, and look what he left. He got half of them, hit the middle of the head pin, and got half the full rack. Leaves a mess.
Yeah.
Here's another look at that release where I was just talking about. And you see how he opens his shoulder. Now he's directly behind it, but watch the wrist come around the ball. His thumb's still in there, and that's how you spin the ball. If your thumb stays in the ball when you come around like that, you'll spin it.
Now the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10.
It's a mouthful, and he missed them all, maybe.
Oh, boy. He cut the field goal, but no points awarded.
Well, that's disaster. Not only does he get the open, but the pin count, because he was on a strike. You know, if he'd have even got 9, it would have been a major difference, like a 6-pin difference, but he just let it go. He let it get away, and that's like having a double open, you might say.
Almost doubled the lead for Contour Power Grips, now up to 37. Ernie Schlegel will try to put even more distance here in the 10th frame. Remember, it's a 2-game match.
Right, and Ernie, being an old action player, he's been around for a long time, likes to bowl for his own money, likes to need to make this kind of a shot when he has to, and he does it very well. Let's see.
Ernie, in addition to being a pro bowler, also a national sales representative for Contour Power Grips, one of our sponsors.
You see that ball he's got there. You won't find any of those laying around anymore. In fact, they don't make rubber bowling balls anymore. This being an old rubber bowling ball that Ernie got out of the garage that he had won and been successful with many years ago. He got it out because he can hit what he's looking at, and he knows the ball's not going to do any tricks.
How many tournaments did he say?
He's bowled in 721 PBA events. Those are national events. And, of course, that's the record. No one else has ever bowled that many. And
how many did you bowl, just so we can compare?
I bowled somewhere in the neighborhood of 380.
Wow.
So he's bowled almost twice as many as I bowled. And he's very durable. He's had his aches and pains and his injuries and things of that nature over the years, but he's always bounced back and got right back as you get another look at that old black rubber bowling ball.
Won that in 1980 in Portland. Championship there. 1984 he won in Kansas City and Garden City, New York. In 85 he won in Cleveland, and in 1989 in Knoll, California. So Contour Power Grips finishes game 1 with a 202 total. The best that El Dorado can hope for is a 178.
Well, what they don't want is any more damage. They want Kenny to at least get a mark here. Just fill the frame so they don't lose more than they've already lost.
Well, that's a good start.
They're having a lot of trouble with lane 10, and as you know, we do switch lanes after each game. So the Contour Power team, which bowled on lane 9 that full game, will go to lane 10, and vice versa for El Dorado. They'll switch to lane 9, and there could be a major difference between the two lanes. That's yet to be seen, but you'll notice that the players will watch the other team to see how their ball is reacting, and then you see if we were to happen to look over there. Right, we're not right now, but the Contour Power team is talking it over with each other back there. You can see Ernie Schlegel, Acosta, Karch. They're discussing the lane conditions.
Well, that's a big move for Kenny McPartland. Chance for him now to strike out and cut into that lead.
Well, it stops the bleeding, you might say, because they were really in trouble, and he picked up 10 pins and cut that lead by 10 maybe. If he had opened, it would have been disaster. But this, again, 2 games, the Baker system, we know it. We've seen it so many times in the past, how close it can get when it comes down to the last frame, second game.
So McPartland striking out to cut the lead to 24 as we head to game 2 here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. Northern California, we're ready for game 2 of our match. El Dorado Hotel has some ground to make up, trailing by 24. Pam Buckner, Earl mentioned, only the second woman in open competition in the televised finals. Lisa Wagner did it last year.
Look at this lady. Now, you talk about an inspirational leader. This is the one. This is what you want. Pam Buckner will get them going. Boy, I'll tell you what. Watch this ball. Watch her reaction here. She almost ran out of the building there. Look at that crowd. They're backing up.
They're thinking she's going to slap them a high five. Now Craig cuts her.
Well, there we are. Now, remember we mentioned there might be a difference between the 2 lanes, and there's no real reason for that to happen, but as the players practice, they practice for 21 minutes. All 3 teams get 7 minutes to cross these 3 lanes to practice before we go on the air, and in doing that, sometimes they move that oil around. Here we got the 1, 2, 8, 10, and it's the washout. The idea is to hit the left side of the head pin, make the head pin go into the 10. Good, baby. Got a chance.
Oh, just missed the head pin. He gave it a good effort, but an open frame and the strike from Pam Buckner, and a chance for El Dorado to make up all the ground they lost right away.
That's right. That's very close. I mean, this is a game of fractions of inches, and that's what that was for him. Just maybe a quarter of an inch.
Now a double here by Gene Wade, as you look at the scoreboard, would cut the lead to just 2.
Gotta hurry. Gotta cross. Oh, look at that thing. Look. A little confusion out there as they trying to get lined up, and as I mentioned earlier, sometimes the players, if they are really into the match, will pay attention to the other team, and I'm surprised as they get down through the lineup here, you'll see that the Contour Power Grips team, which is very, very experienced, I'm sure will be making some moves on the lanes. They'll talk it over, they'll make a discussion of who should do what based on how they roll the bowling ball, and they'll make some moves. Another tough spare. Got all the hard ones.
Well, an open frame for El Dorado. So that again gives Contour Power Grips command in the match. Mike Karch now bowling, waiting in the wings. Ace Paving, our top qualifier, they were undefeated in match play.
You see the concentration on Mike's face. Look how steady his head is as he goes to the foul line. A lot of ball speed. The ball is never finished.
Boy, oh boy, we're seeing a lot of this right now.
Well, the resin reactive, the resin reactive bowling balls are part of this. They are a little more difficult to control. The ball reacts very quickly to what's on the lane. If it's a little bit of oil, it wants to skid. If it's a little dry area, it wants to hook. And so the players are really trying hard to control them. And it's a good look at Mike, what he's trying to do with the spare ball here. How he takes almost his hand completely out of the ball. Doesn't do anything but go right where he's looking, and he made a great spare shot on the washout. We're going to take a look at Mike's style here real quick. You see him from the side. See how he cups the ball with his wrist, but he'll open that wrist and relax it a little bit. But you'll see it's a very basic approach. Good, long, smooth arm swing. A lot of strength here. And watch the wrist open up a little bit at the bottom as we get to the foul line. Go through there. Look at the shoulders directly over the knee where it should be. And he stays in that position. It's perfect balance.
Come on now. Dawson with yet another strike. Dawson with 2 strikes and a spare in his 3 frames.
It'll be interesting to see what Acosta will do now for Contour Power. He's playing basically the same shot that Mike Karch is playing, but he throws it a little harder and a little straighter. I would expect him to move to the right and this ball not to hook hardly at all, just throw it right at the pocket, because there doesn't seem to be any back end or any hook spot on this lane. Pretty hard for his to end it hooked on it. So they're confused. This could be disaster if they can't figure this lane out very quickly, because it looks to me like the El Dorado team has figured out lane 9 a little bit.
Well, we watched El Dorado really struggle on the right lane, or lane 10, in the first game, and now Contour Power Grip certainly having trouble getting lined up here in the second game. Well, the lead is still near where it was, but 23 as we have game 2. There's Thompson and Porter with strikes each. The lead 13 now with the double for El Dorado, and a chance to make it 3 in a row. Here's Kenny McPartland. Remember, he struck out in the 10th frame in the first game. That one never had a chance to get back. Confused a little bit.
He's coming back saying, hey, what happened there? I thought I threw that pretty good. And you can see the discussion going on among the players on the bench there. Hey, that looked like a good shot. What happened? And sometimes there's just no rhyme or reason. You think you threw the ball the way you wanted to, the speed you wanted to, the target, everything right, and the ball just doesn't react. Again, the tough spare, the washout. 1, 2, 4, excuse me, 1, 2, 8, 10.
Wow, what a shot.
They're making it look easy on these spares, aren't they? That's a great shot in this situation, this being this late in the match. Another look at that. In perfect cover, the head pin takes out the 10. The ball takes out the 2 and the 8.
That is a big shot, and what a momentum builder for El Dorado.
Well, here's the guy that's got to do it for this team. They're on a strike. They need Ernie Schlegel right now. And this is the guy they want in this situation. That's why he's bowling 5th. Ernie, very good and under pressure in the clutch. Almost always gets part of the pocket when he has to.
But the line kept saying, stay there, stay there. And it did, but a little bit high, and he leaves the 4-pin.
Well, Ernie not giving the ball a chance to do anything tricky. He's just letting it go from his hand right to the pocket, and just hoping he can carry. But more than anything, he wants to fill frames, not make mistakes, not get opens. Just get the spares. And Ernie, being an extremely good spare shooter, doesn't miss it.
We've talked about it so many times, Earl, how spare shooting is so important, more probably in the Baker format than any other format.
No question about it. And Pam, remember how she got him started there, and the rest of the team couldn't follow through. She has to do it again right now. She can get the strike, get him going.
Well, they've cut 7 pins off the lead. The lead is 17 right now. Boy, a good solid ball from Pam, but can't get the 7 pin to go down. Pam, by the way, a member of 5 Halls of Fame, including the WIBC Hall of Fame, 7 LPBT national titles, and 18 regional titles.
Pam switching balls, get a ball that doesn't hook much and let it get away from her. It's a major error right here. What a disaster. Not only did she not get the team pumped up again, but she cost them enough pins that they could really be in trouble going into the last few frames, because the strength and power of the lineup for Contour Powers is in the last 3 players. And right now we're going into that last set, and here, of course, Craig Kutzer has that opportunity to help his team, and if they get by Craig with a spare, they're in good shape.
And he misses the head pin.
Well, that ball just completely got away from him. He's the weakest player on the team by far. The other 4 players, as I mentioned before, all very experienced, all very capable of playing well under pressure, and there is definitely a lot of pressure in this format when you can only help your team twice each game, or hurt them twice each game, possibly. He could let them right back in the game. He did. He let the El Dorado team think, hey, we're still in this.
He missed the head pin on the right and on the left. Well, we head to another break here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. The lead is 14 for Contour Power Grips. And to the final moments of this first match. A strike for Contour Power Grips in the 7th, a spare for El Dorado. The lead is 14. Dawson's been solid for El Dorado.
They really need him now. They need some strikes. Oh my.
Oh boy. How many times have we seen that?
I don't know. That's at least 4, I think, washouts we've seen. Again, the 1, 2, 8, 10, and that's the reactive bowling balls. They'll do that for you. What looks like the good shot 50 feet down the lane turns into disaster, and sometimes what looks like disaster turns into, something really good. The reactive resonance being so hard to control unless you're really an outstanding player. It's probably not the ball for the average bowler.
How about that? We have seen some spare shooting. Wow.
That was the pocket. They'd all be throwing strikes.
You're right. Incredible.
Now, to look at that washout, this looks like an instant replay, doesn't it? It's almost identical to the way it was done just a couple frames ago. Acosta, look at the concentration on these eyes, folks. Then they won't waver. He's studying his target all the way to the foul line. Rifle shot right at the pocket. High in the head pin, the baby split 310. And no one seems real comfortable. The only guy that really looks like he's having a lot of fun out there and making good shots consistently is Ernie Schlegel, and that's because he's not using a ball that reacts as much as the other bowling balls. He's using an old rubber bowling ball that just almost would go right where you throw it rather than what the lane makes it want to do. Fit the ball between the 2 pins.
Uh-oh. Boy, you talk about leaving the door open. It's pushed wide open now for El Dorado.
It's one of those I don't want it, you take it matches, and it's going to come down again to the 10th frame, and Ernie Schlegel is probably starting to get itchy and wants to get up there and get it done.
6 pins now. The lead was 24 once upon a time for Contour Power Grips. So we go down to this, the 9th, the foundation frame, and then the 10th.
Well, here's another guy that likes to hook it a lot, and you know what's been happening with the guys that hook it. It's been washouts. Got this one back. What a key shot.
Big shot. So now Bob Porter will try to answer. He needs to try to set up Ernie Schlegel here.
Well, advantage here, actually, I feel, is in El Dorado's favor because they're going to finish the match first. And if they can throw a couple of strikes up there, it's going to be awful hard for the Contour Power team to answer that. Oh, we got a break, and look at this. Oh, my, that was close. Ernie Schlegel was up off the bench hoping that that 6 pin would fall into the 10, and it just didn't quite work for him, but he was pulling for it. All right, the important thing here, of course, is very obvious, is to make the spare. You must cover the spare, give Ernie a chance to win it for you in the 10th frame. You still have a 6-pin lead. Hang on.
Oh boy.
That's disaster.
Oh, one of the best spare shooters around, and now Ernie Schlegel. The match is out of his hands at this moment. It is in the hands of Kenny McPartland.
It's all up to Kenny. If Kenny can throw that first strike, it's more than Ernie can make up then. Ernie can only make up 10 pins. They're going at a possible 158 pace, where the El Dorado team can go out for 198, which would be 40 pins, and that would cover quite easily that 24-pin deficit they started the second game with.
This serves notice of how quickly things can change in this sport.
Well, filling the frames. We talked about it.
Well, that's a huge shot for Kenny McPartland. Talk about huge shots, too, Earl. Let's go back to game 1 when he struck out in the 10th frame to cut what seemed to be an insurmountable lead down to just 24, which was more manageable.
That's right, and there again is another look at that. The pin action you saw, light in the pocket. The team is on the floor back there, pulling for him.
Team bowling, isn't it fun?
Isn't it the best, huh? And the crowd is really into this. This is the one to lock it up and be all over if he strikes here.
Oh, boy, he threw a good ball.
Well, 187 gives them a total of somewhere in that neighborhood of 365. If my math is correct.
Exactly right, Mr. Anthony.
And the best Ernie's team can do is 360, so it's over.
That is correct.
So it looks like El Dorado is going to have their hands full, and going up against the team that's just dominated this, the paving team is.
Well, big shots from Kenny McPartland, no question about it. Very big shots. He strikes out in the 10th frame of game 1, and the strike on the first ball here, which really put them in the driver's seat, and Schlegel knows it's over. And he gets the strike to start things off in the 10th, but it will not be enough. The best now that Contour Power Grips can finish with here is a 158. A 158.
That's a disastrous thing for Ernie and his team, of course. Like everybody that entered, they wanted to win it, but no one wanted to win it more than Ernie did, because he works for Contour Power, who sponsored this particular event, and he's their national sales representative. And of course, the owner of that outfit is here today. Don Heimbigner and his wife Elaine are in the audience, and they were really hoping that this would be a victory parade all the way around for the family, you might say.
Well, a 148 for Contour Power Grips in the final game, and they will think about frames 8 and 9 for quite some time. We're back. And a good start. Much better than the start in the first match when she had an open frame.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be bowling second behind Pam. She turned around and took 2 steps and let that left hook go. She'd deck you right there.
Now Bill Rowe for Ace Paving. Look at the intensity there.
She's having the time of her life. She's loving every minute of this. Well, he got a break there. That could have been a lot tougher if the 10 had stood, and even more so if he did knock the 6 out of there, but leaves only the 3-6, which is difficult enough as it is. And again, this team kind of had a disadvantage. You mentioned earlier, Dave, you thought it was kind of a disadvantage to be the #1 team.
I think it is, yes.
The team that wins the match prior to this one is already acclimated. They're comfortable bowling in front of the cameras. They know what the lane conditions like, so that you're right. I agree with you. There's an advantage there.
I think the hardest part of not being the #1 seed is getting into the championship match, you know, surviving that first match, but then you kind of ease into things just a little bit. We have seen so many times that teams that do not qualify first are the ones that end up the eventual champion. Well, a chance for El Dorado to take the early lead here. Working on the strike, here's Gene Waite. Gotta hurry. Oh, my. Tough. Let me tell you what, as it gets.
Let me tell you what, he almost had what we used to call the lily, the 5-7-10 there, and that ball looked a lot better than that. I thought he was going to get the strike. It was coming back real hard. Watch the pin action here. The ball is way down the lane, breaks very sharply, but the 5-pin almost stood up. Just an awful, awful bad break here. He'll throw real hard and straight, try to get one of these pins to bounce out of the pit.
Just went after the 10-pin, so an open frame for El Dorado as we take a look at the starting lineup for Ace Paving, brought to you by Contour Power Grips. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. You already saw Bill Rowe. Now DeRener. It'll be Bob Davidson, 38. 49 is Matt Surina. Earl talked about him in the open. And then Curtis Messner is their anchor.
Not a bad opening shot there. A guy that's kind of trying to get used to what's going on around him out there, get the feel of things. Easy spare, only the 4-pin.
Last year they were all Mullanes, and they weren't the top seed here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl last year, but they did win here and qualified for the national championships in Reno and ended up finishing 3rd there. You know, Ace Paving, here they are in the top spot heading in, and 9-0 today in match play.
And I don't remember ever, Dave, in all the shows we've done, all the tournaments we've done, anybody ever being undefeated in match play.
I don't either.
That's just unbelievable. They averaged 210.5 in the Baker system.
Wow.
Which is just really a great, compared to, say, the El Dorado team here that averaged 191.4. That's a 19 pins a game edge.
He throws a nice ball, doesn't he?
He does.
Ty Dawson leaves just the 10-pin.
We're going to look at that again, and Ty does get out of the ball really cleanly. You can see a lot of rotation there, a little bit more deflection than he expected, and that the lane there seems to be some oil is maybe carried down around the finish area, the pin deck, and the ball just isn't gripping as it enters the pin. So that's why I think the 7-10 stood up. momentarily for a minute there for Gene Waite, and then of course here the week 10, you might say.
Bob Davidson. Bob, 32-year-old pro shop owner. He has won 6 PBA regional titles.
Another very, very experienced player and one of the better left-handers up from out of the Washington area.
Ace Paving, by the way, not only 9-0 in match play, but you're probably wondering, well, what did they do against El Dorado earlier today? Well, they won that one going away 422 to 379. Winning the second game 239 to 172. So 3 spares to start things for Ace Paving, and they have a 9-pin lead. We'll come back with game 1 of our championship match in a moment. And now bowling Todd Thompson. Working on a spare. He does spin that ball.
He does, and I'll tell you what, that's about as good as you can get it into that pocket area. That ball was just dead flush.
Now Matt Surina.
First look at Matt Surina, who is, as I mentioned earlier, currently leading the American Bowling Congress singles in Reno with an unbelievable 826 for 3-game score. Here's another guy who can spin it up for you. Play anywhere on the lane and score.
First strike for Ace Paving.
Take a look at Matt Surina's game, which is everything is very orthodox for Matt. You see he holds the ball a little bit away from his body, which is kind of hard on the back, but he's been doing this for a long time, and you can see the arm swing at the cup wrist, swing just about shoulder high. Watch the balance at the foul line as he slides. He gets through the shot, shoulders over the knee, stays through it, and stays there. And by staying there, that means you are balanced and you've got there in good time and you can control the bowling ball.
And the double. Boy, Kenny McPartland has come up huge for El Dorado today.
He's making it look easy while everybody else is kind of struggling out there. Another look at that shot, and you can see he's getting the ball well down the lane. It's not moving until it's about 55 feet down this lane, which is 60 feet from foul line to head pin.
Now Curtis Messner.
Curtis has been one of the premier anchormen in the Northwest for a number of years. He generally can get the job done from an anchor position, kind of like Ernie Schlegel or any of the other guys that when you need them, they're there. And Curtis also a very good spare shooter. This one just kind of got away from him. Like I don't think he was trying to play anywhere near that far out near the channel there, but he almost didn't get any, Dave, on that shot. 1-2-4.
So Messer will try to clean up this mess.
Just wants to get it on the left side of the head pin here.
Just like that. Well, the lead just 1 now for Ace Paving as we've reached the halfway point of game 1. 2-game championship match. The winner will not only get $3,200 in prize money, but a grand championship package that includes 5 airline tickets, 3 double rooms at the grand championship. A shot at the projected $150,000 prize fund, 5 pairs of Lynn shoes, 5 Brunswick bowling balls, 5 championship rings, and of course the sponsors award. See the qualifying averages that Earl was talking about earlier. Ace Paving, very impressive, 210 Baker format average.
Well, Pam Buckner, her team on 2 strikes there, had a chance to really get it out going here, and she just couldn't get her thumb out of that last shot. The ball got well down the lane. She was lucky to kick the 9 out, left only the 3-pin.
And again, we talked about the match play records, and Earl and I cannot recall in 3-year history of this event that anyone has gone into the televised finals at 9-0 in match play. And you see they made up the ground early and then stayed number 1 pretty much for most of today's qualifying. Oh, well, that thing did everything but go down.
Yeah, 9 and a wiggle there, and only the 2-pin. He's pretty fortunate to get the 10 out with that shot, but this guy can get a lot on a bowling ball. He gets a lot of forward, heavy forward roll, not a lot of turn on it, but he gets a tremendous amount of forward rotation, which means he doesn't have to cross a lot of boards and still keep the ball in play. He can go fairly straight down the lane and still have it hit very hard.
He's a new member of this team that was Alma Lanes last year, coming over from Team Canada. So he converts the spare, and we've got a match going here in our championship. DeRener leaving the split, the 4-6-7. He could not convert for Ace Paving, and their first open frame. They now trail by 14 with Ty Dawson now up. That goes through the head pin, and probably fortunate to leave just the 310.
Only the baby split here, and of course he'll switch bowling balls, go to something he can control a little more, go a little straighter, and try to fit the ball between the two pins. Ball to hit both pins.
Seen some great spare shooting here today.
You know, it's been kind of strange. We've seen some great spare shooting on some difficult spares, and we've seen some spares that were very easy missed in crucial situations. Yes. As we saw the Contour Power team just completely blow themselves right out of the water with some easy spares. There's a look at a grip that's very unique for this left-hander here, using only a thumb and one finger, and still getting that kind of power on the bowling ball. That shows you some strength. Physical strength right there.
So just the index finger in the ball along with the thumb?
No, not the index. He's using the middle finger and his thumb. This is the way bowlers bowled years and years ago. All the bowling balls only had two holes. You had a thumb hole and you had a finger hole. And the greatest bowler of all time that I'm aware of that bowled with just that type of grip was Ed Lebansky.
Oh, yeah.
A Hall of Famer. He bowled that way for a number of years back. I remember Ed Lebansky on a televised bowling show bowling back-to-back 300 games on national television.
Wow. They had TV back then, huh?
They had black and white, yes. This is before you were born, Dave. White.
Did you ever bowl with just two fingers in the ball?
Yeah, I was very uncomfortable that way for me. I just don't have that kind of strength, I guess, physical strength to do that. A lot of guys, when they watched me bowl, thought I didn't have any fingers in the ball. The ball rolled down the lane.
A lot of guys regret ever having to bowl you.
All right, here comes the man himself, Matt Surina.
Chance to cut the lead to just 2 with a double here.
This is a very free spirit, this young man. He's 44 now, not young anymore, but Matt likes to have a good time. Got to hurry. 1, 2, 4, 8. Hard spare for anybody, but again here, this is just move a little off your strike line, get the ball across the head pin, and the ball will do all the work for you.
Matt won a PBA title at a young age, just 21, when he won the 72 South Bend tournament. Also won in 73 and then again in 81 on the PBA tour. Missed it, but it did come back enough. And he thought he left that one out to the right a little bit.
He wasn't real confident, that's for sure. Well, here comes the man of the hour, you might say.
I should say, yes. McPartland, who had the 3 strikes to end game 1 in the first match, and then had the strike on the first ball in the 10th frame in game 2 that sewed things up.
Look at him forcing his hand. You see him gritting his teeth, really, to get his thumb in that bowling ball. How do you get out of it when you do that? He got out of it really smooth and clean. Didn't quite get back to 2, 4, 10. And this is one of the more difficult spares that we've seen today, David. And again, cross the left side of this 2-pin. Ball will take out the 4. Hopefully the 2 will slide into the 10. But this is from 60 feet away. This is a pretty tough shot. You're looking at hitting maybe a 1/4 of an inch of that 2-pin on the left side and knocking it over into the 10.
Saw him earlier make the 1, 2, 8, 10. Let's see if he can convert here. Oh, what a shot. Wow.
Look at his team. They're off the bench, and here we go.
What a huge shot.
What a great play. Played the left side of the lane, threw the ball pretty hard, pretty straight, and you can't cover it any better than that. That's just absolutely perfect.
From an emotional standpoint, that's bigger than a strike.
Oh, definitely, because instead of finishing with an open, finishing the game with an open, he finishes with a mark. And not only does it pump his team, but it deflates the opposition.
He goes a little higher on the head pin that time, and a 187 finish. Oh, a chance for Ace Paving to take the lead here for Curtis Messer.
Well, Curtis had a lot of problem with his first shot. If you remember, he almost threw it in the channel and left the 1-2-4. This time, little more direct with the ball speed, and gets the job done. I mentioned before, we've got a great anchor man for the El Dorado team, but this one right here, this Curtis Messer, can play with anybody when it comes down to hitting the pocket when you have to in a crucial situation. And there's another look at it. He's playing between the second, third arrow, getting the ball out to about the 7 board, and bringing it back very hard on the back. He gets a lot of revolutions, but it's more of a spin type of a shot, closer to the type of release that Matt Surina has.
Well, the difference in this match heading into game 2 is going to be based on 5 pins one way or the other. And now it will most likely be a 5-pin or maybe 4 or 3-pin advantage for Ace Paving. But what a big shot by Kenny McPartland to convert on the 2-4-10 to not have the open frame in the 10th. And El Dorado is very much alive in this match.
Well, so many of our championships seem to come down to the anchorman, the 10th frame of the last game, when the pressure's building.
Well, Curtis Messer with a strong finish and a 5-pin lead for Ace Paving. Paving, Bill Rowe up to begin things. 5-pin advantage for Ace Paving heading into this second and final game.
Well, strikes have been hard to come by today, and especially anything like a string of strikes. So again, obviously you have to fill frames, and spares are becoming more and more important as we get into the final frames of this championship match. Across lane here at the 6-10. A lot of ball speed, hard and straight.
By the way, I don't get paid any extra for saying this, Earl, but you have been a very cordial host this week at your own Dublin Bowl here in Northern California, and any bowlers out there, whoever are in this area, should stop in and bowl at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl. Not only the bowling here, but the trophy case. A lot of trophies that you have won throughout your illustrious career are on display here. A chance for bowlers all around the country to see a piece of history in bowling.
Well, that was a pretty good commercial there, David. Thank you.
You're welcome. Nice center you have here.
Thank you. Well, Pam Buckner got high on the head pin in this shot, left the baby split temporarily. The 2-7 broke out the 7, leaving only the 2-pin. Covers it very nicely.
And finishing in 4th place, you see Brunswick Desert Bowl. They finished out of the television finals by just 14 pins. In 5th, Storm of Arizona. In 6th place, Vice Grips Inserts 1. In 7th place, Lupica Taxes. They finished last year. They were in the televised finals, and they were the top qualifier. This year, 7th, now 8th. And Team Vice Grips in 9th. And Tabs Unlimited in 10th. Tabs Unlimited. Glad they didn't make the television finals. That would have had a tough time with their name. Well, a strike there in the 2nd frame. And that gives a 5-pin advantage for Ace Paving. The 5 pins carrying over from game 1. Gene Wade. Boy, that's his first strike of the day.
Well, if enthusiasm is going to win this tournament, El Dorado is going to win it. If the team from Ace Paving doesn't get going and shut them down so that this tremendous enthusiasm doesn't get out of hand, they're going to be in trouble, because they need some strikes, and they need them soon. The El Dorado team is really pumped. This one really got away.
I almost got really lucky.
I don't know what happened there. That ball was gone to the right before he let go of it almost. Leaves a 7-pin. We're going to take a look at it. Watch this down here. This ball is, when it leaves his hand, it's heading for the 10-pin. I don't understand how he got this one this far out of time, and maybe he knows something we don't know. Hit him thin on the other side and they fall down or something.
If that were baseball, it would have been a foul ball into the right field stand.
There you go.
Well, here's the rest of the schedule, and actually this is next year's schedule. We're already looking forward to 95-96. We'll begin things. San Antonio, our new year, and then the Hollywood Bowl in Portland will be in your backyard there. And Hubbard, Ohio, October. We'll be in Wichita. Wonderful facility there, a great center at North Rock Range. Then near Chicago, Vernon Hills, and then Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We have a strong schedule.
Oh, we do.
95-96 season, and a lot more women's events.
That's right. And boy, you better get your entries in, folks, if you're planning on bowling one of these, because they fill up quickly.
We're winding down here in our third year. We have just a few to go, and then we'll all head to Reno for the Grand Championships in July. And Tom Bodecker, the man to call, 414-423-3415. Tom can send you a schedule, and so you'll know when the Brunswick World Team Challenge is coming to your neighborhood. And we've got a good match going here in our championship. The winner of this will automatically qualify for that Grand Championship in Reno in July.
Oh, my.
Well, we saw it earlier. The hit in the pocket, leaving the 7-10.
And again, I feel that there's something to do with the oil pattern. The oil has maybe moved down the lane a little, because Matt was pretty happy with this shot, and it looks awful good. Picks up a heavy roll there. The ball doesn't deflect, but it just doesn't really push the pins back into the corners. And a very unique and unusual leave here for that kind of a pocket shot.
Well, you go from ecstasy to agony in a matter of seconds, don't you? Well, that's a good attempt for Surina, but he gets the 7-pin. A tough break for them, but El Dorado is probably saying, well, it happened to us, so I guess it's only fair that it should happen to them once. So that's going to change the lead again and now give El Dorado an 8-pin lead here.
Well, here's a guy that got the crucial strike, I felt, in the last match in the 9th frame when they needed it. And he seems to be the one that's lined up the best on both teams.
And again, good call, Earl. Todd Thompson will get another strike. 8-pin lead for El Dorado. Now, they were first after the qualifying yesterday, slipped to second after the Baker format today. But now making a charge at Ace Paving, and Curtis Messer, who struck out in game 1. But high there. Oh, almost got real lucky. Did trip out the 6.
Oh, that is a good break to kick the 6 out of that lead, because it eliminates a lot of ways to miss it. It makes it a lot easier for Curtis just to throw hard and straight at it from the corner. He'll use as much of the lane as possible. He can develop a lot of ball speed, this young man. He's got those long arms and just lets it go.
Messer, a 4th-time Northwest Bowler of the Year. So the lead is 8 as we turn the corner and head for home.
Well, again, here's the guy that's performed so well when they needed him. Kenny McPartland has really done the job, and there's an opportunity to add to that lead. They're on a strike. Forcing that thumb into the ball. It just amazes me that they can do that and get out of it cleanly. Having a lot of problems with his hand, evidently, because after he released that ball, which he got off his hand very quickly, that's why he didn't get any back in there. The ball didn't finish because it came off his thumb so quickly, and he looked down at his hand as soon as the ball left him, and like, what happened here? Slips. Here's another look at it from a better angle. This is a great camera angle. See this, and the ball's gone. He doesn't really get the lift he wants on it, and then he turned around and said, man, that's my thumb. Picked it up before.
Not that time, though.
Not that time.
Well, he tested fate one too many times. So the lead seesaws back in the favor of Ace Paving. We'll be back with the conclusion of our championship match in a moment. While we were away, each with an open frame in the 6th. El Dorado with a split. Ace Paving just missing a 2-pin spare. So we have a 4-pin match as we head down to the final 4 frames. Frank DeRener will have just the 7-pin remaining.
Well, watching that ball go down the lane, you could actually see it wiggling a little bit and skidding and then rolling, skidding, then rolling. It's kind of unique that the oil pattern would move like that, but that's what's happened on that lane.
There's your partner, Ted Hoffman, the general manager here at Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl.
That's the old grouch there. Yeah, that's my partner. He's one of my best friends. I love him like a brother. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Again, he and you have been great hosts this weekend here in Dublin. Now it's going to be which team maybe can double up, or which team
just fill the frame.
Make sure they fill the frames.
Who can make spares? Yeah, don't get splits. Make some spares. It's what it looks like to me. Good shot here. Oh, and a 7-pin.
Well, he had a strike in the second frame, his first strike of the day, and a good ball there. They are matching each other, not only with the open frames, but also with the same leaves, the 7-pin here. Hang on. Boy, I tell you what, halfway down, I didn't think that had much of a chance to hook.
I didn't either.
Well, there you see, to the victor go the spoils, not only the $3,200 in prize funds, but Brunswick balls, Lynn's shoes, and these 5 championship rings, plus 5 airline tickets and 3 double rooms at the Grand Championships in Reno.
Yeah, first place there is something like $25,000, $30,000, so that's a lot to shoot for. And that's why you see these guys are pumped like they are, and they're trying so hard, because you not only can win all the goodies like that, but you get to walk around for a full year saying, hey, we're the World Team Challenge champions.
Ty Dawson now will try to match the strike of Bob Davidson.
Look at these now. This is where you get hurt. I think Pam Buckner could hurt you with that hand slap she did. There's another look at that shot. And this is a great play here. He got the ball right where he wants it, deep inside in the lane, and just lined it to the pocket. Now watch Pam come off that bench. She's ready. Boom.
They missed.
All right. Here's the man that's got to match it now. It's when they get down to the last 2 guys, Matt Surina and Curtis Messer for this team. A lot of strength, a lot of talent here.
Well, I remember the last time he hit it in the same spot and left the 7-10. That time, it's the double and a 14-pin lead now for Ace Paving.
There's another look at it. Watch the pin action. A little lighter this time. Last time he had a little more of the pocket. And look at Matt's reaction here.
Now he'll just sit and watch.
He's done all he could do.
Todd Thompson, he struck his last time.
A little more ball speed here. Ball never picked up the roll. He threw that one just a little bit harder than he normally does, and maybe the excitement of the moment or something, but he just got too much ball speed. It never turned over for him, never picked up the roll that he needed on the back end. And here's another look at it. You can see him just kind of lunge with this shot, and the ball just went too far down the lane before it had a chance to get into the roll. Leaves the 210. Really tough spare. If he should pick this up, though, emotionally, it could do a lot for his team, and maybe even cause some kind of an effect on Ace Paving. Just a little bit of it he wants, just to go.
Kind of too far left. So a costly open frame for El Dorado in the 9th.
Well, it was something he had to go for. He didn't have really any option. He got to go for that shot this late in the match. And now Curtis Messer can really put this away with a couple of strikes here.
You see the scoreboard, a 28-pin lead now for Ace Paving, working on a double.
Oh, he rolled up well.
Oh, boy. Well, he struck out in game 1 in the 10th frame.
Now we've got a winner, Dave.
Right there, that sews things up. So Ace Paving, for the 2nd consecutive year, will qualify at Earl Anthony. I can't say your name anymore. Earl Anthony's Dublin Bowl here in California, and they will move on to Reno for the 2nd straight year. Last year as Alma Lanes, this year as Ace Paving.
Well, they were the class of the field. They dominated throughout the match play, as we mentioned, 9-0, and now they're 10-0. So they can do no worse than have the tie for the best record ever, right?
Last year they finished 3rd in the Grand Championships, Earl. They'll try to better that when they head back to Reno in July. Well, congratulations to Ace Paving. They were mighty tough, not only in this championship match, but throughout the day today. So our congratulations, our hats off to Ace Paving. Quality team that your center will be sending on to Reno.
And there you see the good sportsmanship as we finish out the match. The handshakes all around, and of course, this team, I'm sure, will be back to try.